The D&D minifigures are just primed for customization, so despite the fact that I've already made a couple videos on them, I wanted to make one more showing off 16 different custom minifigures. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, I've used the legs and arms from the Paladin to upgrade a Kingdom's Lion Knight. I feel like this is one of the best factions to upgrade with the Paladin's parts, and if you're a Lion Knight fan like me, I would definitely recommend trying to find some. The only issue with this print is the white printing on the legs, but I think it matches up really well to the Lion Knights, and the only way I could really upgrade this is adding a white waist cape. Other than that, it's a pretty basic figure with some shoulder pads and a great helm, but I think it looks really clean. I definitely want to upgrade my Lion Knight army with some of these parts, so keep an eye out in the future. Next up, I've created a mercenary using the arms and legs from Tasha the Witch Queen, as well as the axe piece from the Dwarf Barbarian. This guy really gives off a Viking sort of feel, and I absolutely love that. This torso is actually the back print from a 2013 Dragon Knight, and the second I saw Tasha the Witch Queen's arms, I knew they would match perfectly with this torso. I've used the helmet from the Series 20 Viking, and although I like how the gold matches up with the legs, I do think Pearl Dark Gray might match the weapon and shield a bit better. Overall, I love the versatility of Tasha's printing, and I'm really happy with how this custom turned out. Next up, I thought it would be fun to expand my Aarakocras for my fantasy world, so I've built these guys. Starting off with the first one, who wields a sword, and then Jaco's shield from Knight's Kingdom. The eagle printing obviously matches really well with the Aarakocras, and I love that gold and blue color scheme. For the torso, I've used the chainmail one from Kingdoms and then combined it with Strahd von Zarevich's arms. If you're a Lego purist, cover your ears because I erased the ugly fur printing from the right arm. In my opinion, it looks a lot nicer and makes the arms a lot more versatile, but let me know your thoughts on erasing prints in the comments. Moving on to the other figure, this one wields a longbow. I've given him a Viking torso, but I've swapped the arms to dark orange to match the waist printing. I've given both the figures the leg, wing, and head pieces from the original Aarakocra because they're the only option that's really out there, and they look pretty good. Overall, I love how these figures turned out, and they actually match up really well with the Eagle Paladin that I made in my last D&D Customs video. If you guys want to see me expand this race in a different video, let me know in the comments. Next up, I've created a hunter using the back print from the Aarakocra Ranger, the legs from the Elf Bard, and the hood from the Druid. I really wanted to mash up some of the different figures' parts, and these just work so well together. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I love the torsos in this series because the front and back prints just look so good. I feel like this face print works really well for a foresty hunter, and I'm just really happy with this figure overall. Next up, I've created an archer using the legs from the Githyanki Warlock. For the torso, I've used the one from the Series 6 Highlander, and I think these legs match up really well with it. I've also given him a brown Mando cape and then an old brown peasant hood, and I think these work really well for the rugged feel of the character. To finish him off, I've given him a longbow and this awesome face print, and I could easily see him being part of some militia or some sort of mercenary. Although I didn't use too many parts from the D&D series, I absolutely love how he turned out. Next up, we have a figure loosely based on a Hun warrior using the torso from the Dwarf Barbarian. I've combined it with these legs and shield from Lord of the Rings, and I think they match up really well. I like that chainmail print. I used a tan cape to match up with the fur printing on the torso, and I think it works really well. I've also given him a rubber tip spear, and I really think it ties the look together. I had recently got this cool hat from Orient Expedition, and I wanted to use it in some sort of figure, so I'm really happy I could do that with this guy. If you guys want to see this style of figure turned into a full faction, please let me know in the comments. Next up, I've upgraded one of the demons from Nexo Knights using the hair from the Tiefling Sorcerer, the knife from the Githyanki Warlock, and the axe piece from the Dwarf Barbarian. Once I got my hands on this hairpiece, I knew it would work perfect for some sort of fiery demon, so I pulled out my old Nexo Knight stuff and combined it with this figure. I really love the heavy Pearl Dark Gray weapons and shoulder armor as it just works perfect for a crazed demon. Making this figure has definitely solidified in my mind that I want to make a Nexo Knight demon army at some point. I just have to get the parts first. Moving on, I've created a couple of dwarves. I have plans of starting a dwarf army at some point soon, and I thought I might as well create a couple of figures for that while I'm at it. For the first figure, I've created a dwarf sorcerer using the back print from the Githyanki Warlock and some parts from the Dragon Paladin's weapon. For the hair, I've used the hair and beard piece from Saruman, and then I've just given him a basic potion as an accessory. My dwarf faction's colors are going to be mainly blue, so I thought these blue pieces worked perfect for the color scheme. For the other dwarf, I've created a rare mineral inspector using the torso from the Bard. This guy uses Sensei Wu's head along with Balin's hair and beard piece, and I absolutely love it for an older look. I've given him a piece of gold and then a rare gem that he's inspecting for his accessories, and then I finished him off with some brown pants that match the torso. Overall, these dwarves aren't anything too special, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. Next up, I've attempted to remake Danju from Knight's Kingdom 2 using the parts from the Tiefling. I do still need to get his original purple wolf shield, but other than that, I think the modernized figure looks pretty good. I've essentially just combined his old helmet, breastplate, and sword with a new visor and the Tiefling's torso and legs. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with the Tiefling's parts, so I just threw this guy together, but if you guys want to see me remake the rest of Knight's Kingdom 2, let me know in the comments. Next up, I've created a Dragonborn Sorcerer, mashing up the parts from the Lady of Pain with the head of the Dragonborn Paladin. The Lady of Pain easily has the hardest parts to use in this series, but they honestly match up really well with the gold from the Dragonborn Paladin. I've given him a gold trident as his staff because I think it looks really cool, and then I've given him a fireball in the other hand because he's a dragon. The Lady of Pain's cape dragging on the floor is annoying, but it honestly kind of works for this figure. He isn't anything too special, but I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. Moving on, I've created an evil wizard using the dress and skull from Zaz Tam and the rat from Strahd von Zarevich. I found this red straw hat while working on the figure, and I honestly thought it worked out really well. For his torso, I've used a reversed Lion Knight torso, and I like how the gold matches up with the dress print. His staff is just a simple design with red magic coming out of it, and then I found this face print with a red eye that I thought was perfect for an evil sorcerer. The rat really helps tie this character together, and I absolutely love how he looks. Continuing on with the evil characters, I've created a possessed heretic. He was once a respected priest, but now he lurks in the shadows doing evil rituals. For this guy, I've used the dress from the Mind Flayer and then just a basic robe print from Ninjago as his torso. I've given him the Evil Knight's head for the glowing red eyes, but then I've used Biffer's beard to cover up the rest of the face. As an accessory, I just built him a spear because I didn't really know what to do, but I think it works pretty well with the figure. Moving on to one of our last figures, we have a Forest Wanderer who uses the Druid's torso and then the head from the Githyanki Warlock. For the legs, I've used the ones from the Series 25 Goat Herder, and at least from what I've seen, they just seem to be the best pairing for this torso. I've given him a bag to collect things along with a bandana, and then to finish off the figure, I've given him a walking stick with a couple of green feathers on it. It matches up nicely with the feathers on his torso, and I just wanted somewhat of a decorated wanderer figure, so I'm happy with how he turned out. Now for the last figure of the video, we have this Lion Knight Commander who uses the torso and hair from Strahd von Zarevich. His torso isn't the most versatile, but I figured combining it with these legs and blue arms, it actually looks pretty good. He's nothing too special, but he's a solid character, and I'll probably include him when I eventually make a Lion Knight army. Anyhow, that is all the figures for this video, but I hope you enjoyed and maybe even got some ideas for your own custom figures. If you liked the video, consider subscribing because I make LEGO Castle content every Saturday. Comment down below what your favorite figure was, and as always, thank you for watching.